Buonasera and bentornato to another episode of This is Calcio. I'm sorry I've not been on for some time. It was mostly a mixture of a sickness as well as reservists. See, my hair is short right now because of the Ministry of Defense. Thank you very much. So yeah, we are now after match week 12. Napoli is still unbeaten in the league with Osimhen scoring his first career hat-trick in the Serie A. Hat-trick against Sassuolo, and the other goal, of course, by Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. But of course, Napoli finally lost this season against Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League. But their domestic league, they are still unbeaten. Fun fact, Liverpool is only the second team that has not let in any goals against Napoli. You know who's the first? Fiorentina. Next up, we have Lecce up against Juventus. Juventus, before this match, they lost to Maccabi Haifa in the Champions League. And with their squad decimated by injuries, I believe Dusan Vlahovic was injured and did not play in the match against Lecce. But in the end, the old lady got their win thanks to youngster Nicolo Fagioli. In English, it means Nicholas Beans. And of course, Juventus got dumped out of the Champions League couple of days ago with their loss to PSG, but they will go to the Europa League. They only have 3 points in 6 matches in the Champions League. That is terrible, and they are like 7th in the table right now. Well, the good news is that Federico Chiesa is now fit, and he actually featured for about 15 or so minutes in their match against Juventus. Welcome back, Chiesa. I'm pretty sure the Bianconeri misses you a lot, especially right now with many players injured. Speaking of many players injured, I read somewhere that Pogba has re-injured himself and he might not even play for France in the World Cup, which is like in a couple of weeks' time. After last week's incredible match against Fiorentina, which Inter won 4-3, which I felt that it was due to some refereeing bias towards Inter. But this time the outright winner, 3-0 against a very, very poor Sampdoria, who is currently in the bottom 3 right now. I think they are in 18th place in the league. Terrible, horrible Sampdoria. 3-0 goals by Stefan de Vrij, Nicolo Barella and Joaquin Correa. Of course, Inter also made it into the next round of the Champions League, even though they lost to Bayern Munich. Ademola Lookman continued his fine form in Atalanta, this time scoring against Empoli with Ladea winning the game 2-0. The other goal scored by Hans Hateboer. Udinese finally lost 2 weeks ago against a less than fancy Torino. These two clubs were the surprise of the season thus far. They are in the top 10 on the league after 12 games played. This time Udinese couldn't do anything against relegation for the Cremonese and ended the game 0-0. Vincenzo Italiano returned to La Spezia for only the second time. He was the manager who brought Spezia up into the Serie A 2 seasons ago. And last season he moved to Fiorentina, and this time their former manager got the better of them. again this season, with Fiorentina winning 2-1 with goals for the Viola by Nikola Milankovic and Artur Cabral, finally right at the death, 90th minute. Spezia goal was scored by Mbala and Zola, and of course these two clubs have former players playing for each other. I would like to point out Dimitris Nikolaus red card, as you can see right here. He got a red card for that tackle. How is it any different from the Marcos tackle on Bonaventura 2 weeks ago? Look at this. Yeah, Inter shouldn't have won that game against Fiorentina 2 weeks ago. Surprise of the season, another surprise of the season. Salernitana beat Lazio 3-1 at the Olimpico. And what a beautiful goal by Antonio Candreva to level the score after Mattia Zaccagni have scored late in the first half. Candreva's goal early in the second half started the comeback for Salernitana with another 2 goals by Federico Fazio and Boulaye Dia to seal the win for the Southerners. Maurizio Sarri was seen looking for a pack of cigarettes after the game. And another surprise result of the weekend. Grande Torino beat Milan 2-1 in Turin. What a surprise! A quick fire double by Kofi Gigi and Alexei Miranchuk gave Torino the lead in the first half. Milan could only afford a Junior Messias goal in the 67th minute to make it 2-1. Will this affect Milan's title credentials this season? We'll have to find out. The Pantofola d'Oro Superleggera 2.0. The Superleggera 2.0 of course is handcrafted as with every other Pantofola d'Oro boots. It is made with a flexible kangaroo leather upper and has flat laces for optimal ball control. Leather collar offers a reliable ankle support. Studs offer optimal traction and stability. Pantofola d'Oro Del Duca comes in white as well. It is made with 100% calf leather upper instead of the kangaroo leather that comes with the Superleggera 2.0. But don't get me wrong, this is also a really comfortable pair of boots. It is of course hand stitched like any other Pantofola d'Oro boots. And thanks to Peach Performance, they are giving a 10% discount if you use this code upon checkout. So click the link in the description or in the bio, wherever you're watching this from, and get your golden slippers now. The game between Hellas Verona and Roma was going to end when with the score at 1-1 when suddenly Cristian Volpato scored in the 89th minute. If you recall, last season Volpato also scored. This is only his second Serie A goal, and his first goal in the Serie A was also against Hellas Verona earlier this year, which is last season. And Stefan El Shaarawy added another goal in additional time to make it 3-1 for Mourinho's men. And last but not least, Monza against Bologna. Andrea Petagna's penalty gave Monza the lead, but 3 minutes later, on the hour mark, Luis Ferguson made it 1-1, and Riccardo Orsolini made it 2-1 and a win, and all 3 points for Bologna. Let's take a look at the table after 12 matches played. Napoli still at the top with 32 points. 10 wins and 2 draws with a goal difference of 21. Napoli also has the third lowest goals scored against them while having the most goals scored for. In second, Atalanta with 27 points and Milan just below them with 26, Roma 25 points, Lazio 24 points with Inter also sharing the same points as Lazio. Juventus and Udinese on 22 points, Torino with 17 points and Salernitana rounding up the top 10 with 16 points. Fiorentina are in lowly 13th place with 13 points, the same as Bologna. Lecce is currently out of the relegation zone with Sampdoria, Hellas Verona and Cremonese bringing up the rear, with Sampdoria with 6 points and Hellas Verona and Cremonese with 5 points each. This weekend we have several enticing battles for you in the Serie A. First of all is the top of the table battle, Atalanta up against Napoli. Will the all-conquering Napoli be able to beat Atalanta, who's had an amazing season so far? I wouldn't bet against Napoli getting any points in this game. And up next we have the Derby della Capitale, Roma up against Lazio. Mourinho's men have played hot and cold this season, but with new signings Paulo Dybala and Andrea Bellotti, I think Roma might just steal this one because Lazio is without the services of Ciro Immobile, who's out injured, as well as SMS Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who is suspended for this game after picking up a yellow card last week. And up next, one of the biggest fixtures in the Serie A, Juventus up against Inter Milan, the Derby d'Italia. The Derby d'Italia. This is the only reason I have this scarf here, just to show you guys this Juventus scarf. Is because of Derby d'Italia. If not, I wouldn't even feature it here. It's usually like Inter and Milan on the other side, and of course a Fiorentina scarf once in a while. Yeah, two teams who are, what can I say? Two teams who are not hitting their stride so far this season, who have failed to perform time and again. Juventus, both these clubs are separated only by 2 points in the table, with Inter at 6th and Juventus at 7th. But do not count Inter or Juventus out. Last season, Juventus started really slow, and in the second half of the season, they slowly and steadily climbed back up the table and finished 4th, while Inter, they still have the players. And don't forget that Juventus also have a lot of players injured this time round. But of course, the good news is that Federico Chiesa is up and running, and he will most probably feature at some point against Inter, so Inter better watch out. But don't forget, Inter also still have their terrific players such as Lautaro Martinez and the return of Lukaku. Yeah, so don't count Inter out as well. They might very well climb back up the table this season. And of course, they finish runners-up to Milan. I think they will do all they can to not let their city rivals get their second star. And the other matches of the round. Udinese up against Lecce at 3:45 a.m. on Saturday, followed by Empoli up against Sassuolo at 10 p.m. Salernitana welcomes bottom place Cremonese also at 10 p.m. On Sunday morning, Milan up against Spezia, and in the evening, Bologna will face Grande Torino, while a terrible Sampdoria welcomes a resurgent Fiorentina to the stadium. On Sunday night at 10 p.m. Also at 10 p.m. we'll have Monza up against Verona, and of course the two exciting features on Monday morning, the Derby della Capitale and Derby d'Italia. Well, I'm recording this on a Thursday night, so I'm signing off right here because I want to watch Fiorentina play against RFS Rigas in the Conference League, which will start in about 10 minutes. I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.